All right, now reading. I took a little break, things got a bit hectic, so I did not get to do the rundown that I had planned for the end of Black History Month, which sucks, but I'm just going to keep it moving. So today I'm going to read an excerpt from Caps Lock, How Capitalism Took a Hold of Graphic Design and How to Escape from It. As a designer, I really love this book, and it's pretty thick. There's actually a lot of artwork throughout and different examples from the type of graphic design that he references. So unfortunately, that'll be kind of left out of this excerpt, but the words are very potent as well. So I'm going to start with the intro. There is no such thing as ethical graphic design under capitalism. Apathy befalls many graphic designers when trying to imagine a design practice outside of capitalism. Desmond Wong fits in a long line of designers who have critiqued capitalism from the First Things First manifesto in 1964 all the way back to William Morris. Through its anti-capitalist critique, graphic design has become more, not less, entangled with capitalism. It seems that 3 centuries of this dominant economic system has paralyzed our ability to imagine alternatives. The feeling that no individual or collective can change anything until either dystopian or utopian fantasies of total collapse or full transformation, respectively, are realized. I spent the last 3 years trying to answer the question if ethical graphic design can exist under capitalism. The focus is on graphic designers, but this perspective could also extend to other disciplines. The search starts by finding the origins of the current economic system and how design has come to be so intertwined with it. Thinkers from sociology, economics, social geography, critical theory, and anthropology are consulted for the theoretical foundations. Many of them base themselves on or are inspired by the writings of philosopher Karl Marx. His critique of capitalism is widely accepted as the most detailed and thorough analysis of capitalism across the political spectrum. Another reference point is my own 20 years of work experience as a graphic designer. He's referencing himself, the author Ruben Pater. I have worked in advertising, branding, infographic design, social design, speculative design, and critical design. I have made activist campaigns, annual reports for banks, and interfaces for consumer websites. I have worked under a boss. As a freelancer, I have run my own business, and have taught in design schools on several levels. From that experience, I have been involved in many of the capitalist design practices mentioned in this book. What is capitalism, anyways? Capitalism is an economic system that is founded on 3 basic principles. Everything should be privately owned, all production is for the market, and people work for a living wage. Based on these principles, a business makes a profit and grows. Capitalism is based on ideas from the Enlightenment in the pursuit of freeing the individual from the control of church, nobility, and family. The idea being that if all individuals would pursue their self-interest, this would best serve both them and society. In theory, capitalism offers everyone unlimited potential, but in practice, only a small group of people can own the factories, crop fields, and machines needed for production. Since everything is privately owned, those with no access to the means of production have no other choice than to work for a wage. This creates a society where a minority, capitalists, has control over production, while the rest have to find a job to survive. How does the capitalist economy work? Those who control the production, the capitalists, have to invest their profits from these means of production to stay competitive, for the ultimate goal to grow. In reality, they keep a lot of it for themselves, as we can see by the concentration of the world's wealth around a tiny group of 2,000 billionaires who have more wealth than the poorest 60% of the world population combined. Capitalism is also called a market economy. The market is where goods and services compete with one another. By promoting products and services, graphic design plays an essential role. In theory, the free market arrives at a natural equilibrium in supply and demand, which leads to fair prices and a higher standard of living for all. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. The free market is in reality a complex constellation of trade blocks, tariffs, and subsidies. Corporations make use of the lack of regulation by using tax havens and free economic zones in low-wage countries to produce their products without the threat of unions. Another myth of capitalism is that the international markets will find a natural balance, yet economic crises are the norm rather than the expectations. Yet economic crises are the norm rather than the exception. We have witnessed financial crashes like the one in 2008, leading to global destruction and devastation, for which the least fortunate end up paying the bill. Nor do supply and demand seem to create an equal marketplace. As businesses expand, sectors tend to monopolize markets. Adobe has an 80% market share in graphic software, and Google has a 92.62% of market share in search engines. It's not really a free market if competitors are either bought up or pushed out. Capitalism has failed to deliver on its promise that it would create an economic system of freedom and prosperity for all. After more than 3 centuries, extractive industries have depleted the earth and are threatening the world's ecosystems with imminent collapse. Income inequality has increased in most developed countries since 1990. Since 2014, extreme poverty has been rising, with 688 million people going hungry on a regular basis. Even the more privileged workers in the wealthier countries suffer from higher burnout rates and depression to meet the high productivity benchmarks. Endless consumption by the wealthy has led to an interlocking system of design, production, consumption, and waste that is nearing a point of no return. And this is a small summary.